Hi everybody, it's Sally. I'm part of another AJOS Art Hop today. Art Joy is sharing artists on Facebook, and we're doing a hop called AJOS Journey. The premise being whomever wanted to create a background layer of something with whatever and add it to a folder in our group, someone else would go in the folder and take a copy of that background, and then during this hop we're each going to use one another's backgrounds to create a new piece of art and add more layers on top of it or whatever we decide to do. But that is the journey of the background, I think. That's the way I took it anyway. So I chose these two, and you can tell that they were probably done at the same time because of the colorway. Hanny Tromp, these were hers, and this one was Margell, sorry, I'm not sure how you pronounce your name. But all their links will also be in the description box below, or of the artists who are participating in the hop. Their links will be in the description box below. And I think if Margell and Hani don't do the hop this time, I think I will link their YouTube channels below as well so that you can go see, because aren't these awesome? I'm going to, whatever I end up doing, it's going to be on this canvas, stretch canvas. I think it is 11 by 14, pretty sure. So I'm going to probably get a background layer of paint on here, and then I'm going to tear these prints into pieces, and then we'll go from there. But I don't think you need to watch me put a background layer down and rip paper up. So I'll be back when that is done. Okay, I have got papers torn. I have some extra pieces. I'm going to use this matte gel. There's not a ton in there. Some of it's dried up, but I'm going to start with that and start gluing pieces down. And I'm just going to keep gluing, and I'll just speed this up. Okay, that's the background, and you can see where the matte medium went, and I touched it, I lifted the paint, but that's okay, that can be touched up. And I ended up with one little piece of paper left. So this was 3 8 by 10 or 8.5 by 11 sheets torn into pieces. I tried not to get, similar pieces next to each other as much as I could. And I used my bowl scraper. Every 3 or 4 or 5 pieces that went down, then I would stop and smooth them out and make sure that there wasn't any air underneath them. It is a good idea, if you're working on a canvas like this, to put a book or a stack of magazines or something that will fit inside the stretcher bars, because it's a lot of pressing as you're gluing stuff down and pushing with the bowl scraper or whatever you're using, and you may stretch the canvas. So just having something back there, I didn't, but do as I say, not as I do. Having something back there to give it a little more support is always a good idea. So I'm going to let this dry thoroughly, probably wait overnight, which is a good thing because I don't have a plan. Maybe something will come to me in my sleep. So I will be back tomorrow when this is dry. Okay, I am back. This is dry. It feels cool still, but it's chilly in here. I am going to put down some crackle paste. This is the Deco Art Media crackle paste, and I'm going to apply it through a stencil, and I'm going to just kind of do it randomly, and I just want a thin layer. Hopefully this is still good. I haven't used it quite some time. Seems like it is. This is really thin. I don't know if I'll get any cracks there or not, but I'm just going to put some down because I just like the randomness. Alright. And that's another layer that is going to need to dry, but in this case, what I want to do is use that as my medium for some embossing glazes. And I have this fired brick, I think. Yep, fired brick. We'll use a little speckled egg. I'm just trying to pick up some of the colors that are in here. Vintage photo, maybe. You know what? I'm going to use peeled paint instead of vintage photo. We'll go with those three. Normally, you would use an embossing ink in a dabber or pen or the ink pad. But in this case, the embossing powders, or the glazes, embossing glazes, I should say, will, they'll work with any wet medium pretty much, as long, and on any substrate, as long as the substrate is heat tolerant, capable of taking extreme heat. Now I'm just kind of pinching this on for a better word for it, sprinkling it with my between my fingers because I want more than one color. Green. Alright, that's starting to dry, so I may have to give it a little spritz maybe with some water. Okay, and I'm just going to emboss. You can tell that it's blowing off, so I know that some of my paste is dried before I got it in here, but it'll give me just a grungier look. I can always add more if I want to. Okay, I don't know if you can see the shine on the glaze. I should have waited for the glaze to dry all by itself and I would have got more cracks, but it's just acting more like a texture paste. I can see some cracks really fine right there. I don't know if that's camera's picking it up or not, but it may crack more as it sits. You may have noticed that it was bubbling up. It will do that if you dry it while it's wet or heat it while it's wet. You can push them back down if you want to. I kind of like the texture that it makes. I was hoping for a little more, so I may use the dauber in a little bit. I'm going to clean the powder off of my mat and let this sit for... Okay, now I'm adding a little more with the Distress Embossing Dabber. A little more control. It stays wet quite a while. I already added some green up here, so I'm just gonna... It comes out kind of hard. I mean, I can see it there, so I know it's coming out, but it's hard to see on here. The bottle doesn't have a lot of give, and that's purposeful because you don't want all the ink to gush out. You just want a light application of this stuff. So I think that's what I'm getting. I think I'm going to add more blue at the bottom. And then just to kind of get it maybe a little more even in those areas, just tap it on the bottom. You see that? I'm sure it looks much better in person than it does on camera. Especially right here, I really like this. It's kind of grungy. It's not completely, well, it's not completely filled in anywhere because that's really not the look I was going for. But I'm going to add some over here. Okay, I think I'm done embossing. Here you can see the shine on that paste, I think. Yeah. So just another background layer. What I'm thinking is, I kind of know where I'm going, sort of. I want to put her face, and you may remember me doing that piece in my journal, but she had like a big halo around her head, and I printed her out and cut it off. So I'm thinking I'm going to put her there. I'm going to have to tame back the background though. I'm thinking I just need a transparent acrylic paint. I'm going to give this a rest. I'm going to give me a rest. While I'm waiting for my canvas to get a little more dry, I'm going to just take a stamp. This is from Faded Type. And I'm going to stamp through and not hard, but through this stencil, just to get some marks. Dry. I'm going to get something to put underneath that canvas though. Just for where I'm going to be pressing with the stamp. Maybe this bigger one. That's enough. That's going to take a little bit to dry again. So we'll let that happen. Alright. I took Da Vinci Fluid Acrylic in Payne's Gray, put some on my mat and watered it down and just applied it wherever the crackle paste was. The embossing glaze acts as a resist, so you're not going to change the color of that by going over it with paint. It just beads up and wipes right off. So wherever there wasn't embossing glaze on the paste, the crackle paste, the blue or the Payne's Gray did go down in. The surprise was this. You see the mottled look there that I have on this, the fired brick now? That happened with the paint. So, and then I decided that I think she needs to be over here a little bit. Cover up some of this. There's just a lot of that red. So we'll cover that up a little bit and expose more of the original background papers, since that's really the purpose of this hop, is to use and see those. So that's where I'm at now. I'm back. I did a little bit without you. I glued my girl down and I gave her a little blue in her eyes and pink on her lips with the Inktense pencils. And then I had a paper bag that had these flowers on it, so I just cut those out to put around her head, and I used the, what is this, apple green, to like fill in the little bits of white that I didn't cut out because I don't like the fussy cut. And I used my Stabilo All pencil and went around the outside of her and activated that with matte medium. I like to use matte medium to activate it because then it's permanent once it dries. If you activate it with water, and it gets wet again, the Stabilo is going to run. So now I just need to glue these down, and then I think I'll go around the outside of the flowers with the Stabilo also. And that's all I'm doing right now. I'm just going to glue these down, so I will just speed this up. Okay, I say done. Sometimes I get to a point where I just get tired of working on something and then I say, okay, it's done. So that's kind of where I'm at with this one. I like it. It's okay. But yeah, she's done. I could futz more with shading the flowers and, you know, and it's something that I might come back to at some point, but not at this point. So thank you to Hani and Margelle for the cool background papers. I think they worked out really good. The colorway was perfect for this. And thank you to Shell C for organizing this AJOS hop. Make sure to check out everybody that's linked in the description box so that you can follow the hop, go to the next person on the list, and just keep hopping along until you get back to me, and then you know you're done. And in the meantime, go make some art. Bye!